Hey guys, welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 helpful tips to get better at guitar in 2024. As New Year's approaches, a lot of times people obviously like to make New Year's resolutions, and for me, one of my New Year's resolutions, every year it's the same, is to get better at guitar. So we're going to break down 3 kind of things that I like to do every year to kind of revamp my guitar goals and try to get better at learning how to play this instrument. So number 1 is to establish your goals. It sounds pretty simple, but you need to have a clear idea of what your goals are so that you can accomplish them. So what I like to do every year is I like to open up a Word document. You can also write this by hand or use Google Docs, but I write down what my guitar goals are, okay? So typically for me, that's something like, what new repertoire do I want to learn? What do I want to improve on? Are there techniques that I'm weak at that I need to get better at? What can I do to kind of get better? And it just depends on you, right? Everybody's going to be different. So write down what your specific goals are, because the more clarity you have, the more likely you are to achieve those goals. So for me, something might be like sight reading, okay? Most guitarists are not good at sight reading. Unfortunately, I fall into that category, and so that's something that I want to improve upon. Another thing is like a regular technique practice is something that's healthy. And then I want to start some new repertoire, and I also want to maintain some of my old repertoire. So those are kind of my 4, I would say, categories that I want to improve upon and kind of have those goals established for the new year. Step number 2 is to make a plan. So like I mentioned, you need to write down your goals. Then we need to get more specific with our goals. So for me, I said the first thing was sight reading. Okay, yes, sight reading, but what am I gonna do about that? So what I've written down is that I'm gonna practice sight reading every day for 10 minutes before I start my kind of general repertoire practice. So that is my specific thing. This is something that's pretty easy to do. If you have like an old guitar book or something, you can kind of just open it up, read through something for 10 minutes, and then kind of go to your practice. I also kind of like to think of my sight reading, at least for now, as a slight warm up. If it's 10 minutes and I'm gonna probably be playing slow because I'm sight reading, but that can kind of help me to get my fingers kind of loose and kind of get warmed up. So for example, the next thing on my list is technique. So I wrote down I want to practice scales, slurs, arpeggios, and triads. I also get specific with how long I'm going to practice those specific things. Altogether, that little technique chunk is 30 minutes of technique. So I've got 30 minutes of technique, 10 minutes of sight reading before I even start my repertoire practice. But all in all, I think that's a good little chunk of 40 minutes to try to get all those kind of little things and exercise healthy things out of the way. So the next thing on the list is the new repertoire that I want to learn. So for this, you can put whatever repertoire that you want to learn. This is just an example. What's on my list is Concierto de Andaluz, Scherzo Valse by Miguel Llobet, Zapateado by Joaquin Rodrigo, so on and so forth. You can see the list there. Yours don't have to be these pieces. Put whatever pieces that you're interested in and what you want to learn, just so that you have them, the goals are established, and it's clear what you want to do. The third thing on the list is old repertoire. So old repertoire is something that's really, really important to keep alive. I've not been doing a good job of that lately because I've just been kind of consumed by new repertoire. But what I want to do is kind of every day is just pick an old piece of repertoire, spend 20 minutes on it, just to kind of keep it alive, and then that will be that. And every day I'll cycle through a different old repertoire piece that I want to keep alive, so that when the time comes, if I have to play a concert, if I have to play a gig or whatever, I always have those pieces kind of in the back of my head that I can just pretty much play at the drop of a hat and not have to kind of practice them too much beforehand. And at the bottom of the list, you can see the total practice time is 4 hours. So that is my goal, is to practice for 4 hours every day, if possible. The third and final step is to simply execute, is to just do it. Another thing that's really helpful is to write down when you're gonna practice. So obviously I'm not gonna just sit down for 4 hours and practice everything. Usually I like to have a certain time in the morning where I'll practice, maybe a time in the afternoon that I'll practice, and then maybe a time in the evening that I'll practice. And sometimes I'll even write down the specific times that I'm going to practice. So like I said, the more detailed, the more intricate you can get, the more likely you are to accomplish those goals. So get down there, make a list, make a plan, execute it. You guys can do this. Start the new year strong, and let's get better at guitar together. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.